Hi everyone, thank you for joining our Broker Roundtable meeting. If during the webinar you have any questions, please type those into the questions box so we will be able to see them. Going to go ahead and pass it over to Ken Moon now. Good morning, Ken.
Well, good morning, Victoria. Thank you very much, and good morning, everybody. I hope everybody's having a wonderful day out there. For those of you who are not in California, I hope you're staying warm. And for those of you in California, we're all praying for rain. Anyway, this is a broker roundtable, and we're going to keep it quick and make sure it doesn't take more than an hour. I doubt it will take that long.
Hello.
Ken? Looks as though Ken is having some difficulty. Bear with us just a second here. We will try and get Ken back on.
While we're waiting for Ken, let me point out that this is an interactive format, so if you have questions or comments to make, there is a section in your control panel that allows you to post a question. So we'd like you to be able to do that so we can be able to interact with you and answer any questions you have.
Starting to wonder whether it's me. I had some technical difficulty with my webinar last week as well.
Hi everyone, this is Jeff Jabora. As you know, I'm the Director of Growth and Development here. So as long as Ken is fixing that, I'll go ahead and talk with you about how you can work with the brokerage for absolutely free, and on top of that, you can make money. As you all know, there's a great incentive in place for referring other agents to work with our brokerage. There is no heavy lifting on your part. It is a simple matter of providing these agents with my contact information or providing me with their contact information. If they come aboard, we'll pay you the referral incentive for it. The way that the referral incentive or the residual payment works is quite simple. You will receive 10% of whatever that agent pays us on plan fees and transaction fees for a Plan C. And if you have referred 4 or more agents, it increases to 15% across the board. This is not a one-time payment. This is an ongoing residual payment. It's like a small annuity. It is in place for as long as your license and their license is with us. This is a great way to have your plan fees completely paid for and to even make money. Last month alone, we had several agents that made over $400, a huge amount of agents that made over $100, and a lot of agents that made over $35. So with that being said, there's really no heavy lifting involved on your part. If you know of anyone else out there that could benefit from the tremendous amount of value that we offer here at Allison James Estates and Homes, please put me in touch with them or put them in touch with me, and we'd love to see you get paid on the referral.
And as Jeff Green had mentioned, if anyone has any questions, please type those in for us while we're waiting for Ken. Sorry, Jeff.
Yeah, I got a text message from Ken, and he's rebooting his system.
Okay.
So, does anybody have any questions that we might be able to, general questions about the company or real estate questions, transaction questions? Other than Bruce Lemaster, he's sent me a couple of text messages of questions that I just can't answer online. And I won't. I refuse to do it. Everybody else? Anybody else? Any questions? Any comments?
No, it doesn't look like we have anything right now.
I think they're all holding their breath. I think that's fantastic. So then I'm going to ask a few questions. I'd like to get a couple little market reports. Maybe you can post your name, your area, and what's going on in the market in your area, so we can kind of find out what's going on statewide.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody?
And again, everyone, type any of those into the questions box so we will be able to see them. Just your name, area, if anything's going on in that neck of the woods.
Please stay tuned. We are experiencing technical difficulties. We'll be back up in just a couple of minutes here. Hopefully we can edit this part out of the recording.
I'm sure we can work some magic with that.
I have a question, Jeff Green.
Yeah?
So I saw this come up on Facebook the other day, and an agent was asking, hey, does anybody have a, kind of a blanket form or a coverall form for if you are going to show a property that has some kind of, hazard or risk? I'm assuming it was probably a distressed property of some sort. Say it's a construction zone, there's, nails sticking out of boards, or there's hanging wires or exposed wires, something like that. Is there any kind of car form to cover that, or what would you recommend if you're showing a property that could potentially, be dangerous to view?
Yeah, if you really feel like there's liability, the quickest thing to do is write something, can be on an addendum, that simply states property is distressed, may not be safe for entrance.
Yeah. Hello, I'm back.
Oh, we'll cover that later.
Hi, Ken.
All right.
Hi. I don't know what happened. Was Jeff Jabora, were you able to get on?
I was, Ken, and I gave my spiel already.
Oh, okay. As soon as I switched to you, everything went dead. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and show my screen. And are we back? Are we back in business in terms of everybody on?
We are. Ready whenever you are, Ken.
Okay. All right. I'll start it back up. Apologize, everybody. We had some kind of a big glitch here, and as soon as I turned it over to Jeff, everything went south. So anyway, thanks, Jeff, for doing that, and Jeff Green for covering while I was rebooting my computer. And we'll skip through. So I understand you covered this all, Jeff?
I did.
How everybody's going to be rich and famous?
Absolutely.
Okay. Terrific. Thanks very much. Information. This is really just a little recap of what we covered last time. And I just wanted to make sure everybody's clear on this. We love talking to our agents. We love contacting everybody, and we love talking with you. But we want to make sure that everybody has information available when they need it, because if you can't get a hold of your broker, or you've got to leave a message and you need some information, you need a place to be able to find it. And also, by the same token, not everybody wants to tell 400 people what the NEID number is or what our broker number is. So doing that over and over again gets a little old. So we thought Jeff Green did a wonderful job of putting together our FAQ site so that you can find out who to call about your CDA, what's a broker's license number, how do I get a W-9, all that stuff. It's all available 24/7 at faqs.allisonjames.info. Just about everything you want to know. And if what you want to know isn't there, there's a place for you to put your question in there and we'll get it answered for you. So enough about that. Next on the agenda is documents in the good old Bureau of Real Estate. We just want to make sure that everybody's aware, although we've said it over and over again, and sometimes people miss stuff. We want to make sure everybody's aware of the policy on documents. When you have a contract with a client and when it's accepted, when it's signed, it's supposed to be in SkySlope, the same kind of time frame it's supposed to be in the MLS when you get a listing, and that's 48 hours from acceptance. If you don't do it with the MLS, they fine you. If you don't do it with the MLS repeatedly, they kick you out of the MLS. You can't even do business anymore. The reason for that is that they want the data to be accurate. They want some integrity in their data, and they need to be able to tell who the agent is for something that's on the market. It's a lot of good reasons for it. Well, we have the same kind of issues when the Bureau of Real Estate, which is taken over from the Department of Real Estate, as everybody's well aware. It's a division of the Department of Justice. They're actually police. And one of the things that they require us to do is supervise our agents. And the way they determine whether we're supervising our agents is they investigate stuff. They come around and check to see if we have stuff on file. If there's somebody complains about a transaction, they might send us a two-page letter asking for a list of all our policies and how we supervise our agents and how do we make sure that the documents are in our files, and give us copies of all the documents and all that stuff. It's not cool if they come looking and there aren't any documents on file. Also, when we get leads, Victoria gets leads on listings, and she has to distribute it to the correct agent. If the listing isn't in SkySlope, she doesn't know where it is. We belong to multiple listing services all over the country, and she's got to try to track it down. She's got to go on Google. She's got to do something to try to track it down. So if you want to get leads on your listings, you got to have it in the system. But more to the point, you just have to have the documents into the system. The investigations from the BRE without any documents on file, as I said, are not cool. The potential damage to you as an agent, to me as a broker, to the company as a whole is substantial. They can fine us for every occurrence. So if there's 20 missing documents, they could fine us 20 times. If they could even take away my broker's license. So it's real serious. We're just not kidding around. It's something we've got to get control over. I've sent a lot of people emails about this, and we've talked about it over and over again. And it's just the corporation is just can't have this kind of risk. So the consequences are that we've had warnings, and for first offenders we will continue to have warnings, but there is a potential for repeatedly failing to adhere to this policy. There is a potential to have one or both of two things happen. You can have the right to get paid at closing taken away from you, so that you have to wait for your check to go through corporate and then get sent to you once everything's clear and all the documents are in, or they can assess fines of up to 25% of the commission. Now, we don't want to do this. We don't want anybody to lose any money. We don't want anybody to have their payment delayed. the way we built this company was to make it easy for people to get paid at closing, but it's a two-way street. We have to protect the company. We have to protect Ken Moon's broker's license. We have to protect yourself from getting fined by the BRE and maybe losing your license for not doing your job. So it's just really important, and I hope everybody's a word to the wise is sufficient. It's easily avoidable, all this stuff. Just upload the documents. It's just that simple. So enough. The other item that I wanted to just cover, as long as we're talking about compliance items, is DBAs and publications. See a lot of people with really interesting names of organizations in their signature lines on their emails. The Podunk Realty Group, or the Sally Agent and Associates, or any wide variety of these kinds of things. You cannot put anything that sounds like a business name, and that means like Ken Moon and Associates, or the Ken Moon Team, or Ken Moon Realty. You can't do any of that unless you have a DBA filed that's been approved by the company. You have to pay to have it filed. It's a process. It takes about 3 months to get it done. If you absolutely need to use a name like that or something for your marketing, you feel you do, then contact me. But until such time as that's filed and approved by the BRE, it's a violation, and it's real serious. So if anybody has that on their Facebook page or their website, or not the URL, not the address of the website, but on the website itself, on the pages, if you have any of that kind of information, Jane Doe and Associates, that sort of thing, it's gotta come off. It's got to come down until you get a DBA filed. And if you need to do that, let me know, and we'll help you with it. The other thing is on all publications, you have to have the Allison James logo. You have to have your BRE number and your name. Those are the minimum 3 requirements that have to be on. And according to the policy manual, everybody's supposed to send me flyers and business cards and things like that for review and approval. I don't get very many of those. So either you guys aren't putting out marketing materials, or maybe you're not aware of the policy. You really need to send that stuff to me so I can just check it. It's real easy. If you've got these 3 things on there and you don't have some other company's name on there, it's approved automatically. So please help us help you, and keep everybody out of trouble. Okay. The next topic is something that's a little more upbeat. It's about how to change, make big changes in your life and be even more successful than all of you already are by making small changes. Lao Tzu, a famous Chinese guy, said that a journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. And there also is a related joke about how do you eat an elephant. It's one bite at a time. But it really is, there's deep meaning in this, in that people can actually make major changes in their lives just by doing small things. And it turns out, the studies they've done, psychological studies, is the best way to do it, is with making just little changes. The concept is that innovation is, typically in the United States, we think if we're going to change something, we need to just change everything all at once. We need to, if I want to lose 20 pounds, I'm going to go on a starvation diet, I'm going to exercise, I'm going to run 20 miles a day, and I'm going to do all this. And the problem is that you just can't stick with it. It's too difficult. It's too big a hurdle. But if you start out by saying that I'm going to go with smaller portions, and maybe I'm going to take one bite away from my food before I sit down to eat, and I'm going to put it in the garbage. And then that way I've got one less bite that I'm going to get on this meal, and start working your way that way. It's something that's manageable and easier to do. The concept is called Kaizen, which in Japanese means good change. And this is a process that was actually developed by an American man, engineer, during World War II. And it's a process where you can make changes and improve processes. Toyota regards this as quote, the soul of their company, this process. And using this kind of process, one can, particularly in our business, one can develop really good habits and can learn to be much more successful. A real famous guy that is no longer with us, unfortunately, but a very famous motivational speaker, a guy named Jim Rohn, said that success is a few simple disciplines practiced every day, and failure is just a few errors in judgment repeated every day. And I really believe that. And another significant source of this kind of information and how you can use this in your life was shared to me from Jeff Green. Jeff is a big believer in developing good habits, and he shared a source with me. And Jeff, I'm going to let you take it over about building habits, and I'll just open all this up, and then Jeff can talk about it. Go ahead, Jeff.
Great, thanks, Ken, and thanks for that information on our compliance issues. And a lot of that's just habit-based. I just want to check: am I sounding good? Am I coming through clear? I want to make sure that I'm not having a technical.
Yep.
Okay. So yeah, I've been doing this study for a number of years on habits, and some of you may be aware that in 2012 I lost 60 pounds through dieting and was able to complete a 100-mile bicycle ride, something I never thought I would do. That was on my when I was 50, and it came about through, I wanted to do this great thing, but I had to have something to support it, a series of habits and activities. And it's really important that we talk about it right now because we're in February, and for most people, the new year is not new anymore, and the holiday season is just a memory, and we still have these nagging things in the back of our mind, these New Year's resolutions we may have set. And the question is, are you really executing a plan to reach these goals, or have these commitments just dropped by the wayside, just like the New Year's Eve party is over? And it's been said that the road to hell is paved with good intentions. We make a lot of good intentions, but there's several reasons why these resolutions and goals fail. First of all, people make resolutions in the context of disappointment. Maybe they're disappointed with what happened last year. Maybe they're making some unrealistic comparisons with other people. Maybe they're egged on by those around them that are quote-unquote successful without defining what success really means to them. So they're kind of in this identity crisis. And another reason that resolutions fail is that resolutions and goals, for that matter, is that they're binary. You either achieve them or not, and you don't have the benefit and affirmation of incremental progress. People often give up when the journey seems too long or hard, and to put it in academic terms, resolutions are either pass or fail. There's either a success or failure, and then you're left with this failure, and it also reinforces a resistance to making any change in your life because you've had failure reinforced. So a related problems with resolutions is you often don't get the psychological benefits of the resolution till you hit the ultimate goal. So How do we overcome that? The way to overcome that is the establishment of habits. Some people would say we should have no resolutions or goals, but really, I don't agree with that. And I don't think we should just have habits. We need to have the right type of habits. And the process of reaching a goal or a resolution is really nothing more than changing our behavior and habits. And the reality is that few people are intentional about forming and, more importantly, galvanizing their habits in such a way that they will produce change that's sustained over the long term. So creating a goal without any realistic way of obtaining it is like committing to a cross-country trip in a car without any money for travel, or actually a cross-country trip without a car, no money for travel or any way to get you there. You may get there eventually, but the process will be really expensive and difficult. And the same thing is true with our businesses. We may say, well, I want to make $300,000 next year, or within 10 years I want to be at that level. But we don't have the habits, the things that change that make the long-term reality occur in our lives. So just a couple more thoughts. In order to create positive habits that produce change, we really need to look for the habits that are leveraged and sustainable. And if you don't remember anything about what I'm saying, remember the concept of a keystone habit. A keystone habit is a habit that affects all the other habits that are associated with it. It's kind of like the lead domino that starts the movement and momentum cascading a domino structure. An example of a keystone habit is exercise. If you get up in the morning and even if you take a 10-minute walk, that habit spills over into other habits like eating well, drinking water throughout the day, as opposed to snacking or junk food throughout the day. And a good keystone habit, we've already touched on it today, for real estate is the habit of producing impeccable paperwork. And I can tell you this, everybody that I know that does really good paperwork, I can't think of anybody I know that does really good paperwork that's a slacker in customer service or is unattentive to the needs of clients. And it just seems to be a keystone habit. When people do their paperwork right, they seem to care about everything else, and they're proud of what they're doing, and they excel in customer service. So sustainable habits are basically, in most cases, they're lifelong commitments, and they're things that you do that continue. These are habits that you continue to develop and assimilate in your life. One new habit a month may seem to be a small achievement, but think about it. What would have happened last year if you had implemented 12 habits into your life, 12 positive habits? I'm going to encourage you to think about this. Think about one thing you can do a month. It needs to be simple enough that you can implement it. You can try it for 30 days. You can fail. But it could be something very simple that you implement every month. I'm going to give you an example of something I did. In January, I had a very simple commitment that I was going to drink a glass of water every day first thing in the morning. Now, this may sound really ridiculous, but I've implemented and sustained that habit. And if you're doing any kind of fitness activity, that front loading of hydration in the morning makes a huge difference. It's now galvanized into my life. I do it every single day. Another thing that I instituted was because I'm into trying to get back into shape and all that, I weigh myself every morning and record the results. That's a keystone habit. It causes everything in my life. I remember during the day when I'm thinking about eating something, well, I'm going to weigh myself in the morning. So those are just some examples, but an essential part of planning goals and resolutions is breaking down whatever you want to do. You may have the desire to make $300,000. Break it down into all the component parts. Deconstruct it. Figure out how much money you need to make per month to get to that goal, how much money you need to make per quarter, how much money you need to make per year. If this is a 3-year or 5-year goal, set some progress goals, and then set some habits. I talked to an agent not too long ago, and he said, he was a brand new agent, he said, I want to make $100,000 a year. And I asked him, are you practicing the activities of a $100,000 a year agent or a $30,000 a year agent? And he thought about it for a second. He said, I'm practicing the habits of a $100,000 a year agent. We went through all the steps of what he was doing. I said, yeah, well, you are a $100,000 a year agent. The only thing is you haven't arrived on the calendar yet where you're going to be able to total that $100,000. But you are, this was about 3 months into it, you're 1/4 of the way to a $100,000 income and making that a sustainable part of your life. That may seem small, but this is a brand new agent, and he wants to make $100,000 a year. Depending on where your market is, that's a pretty decent salary. So final thought, as Ken put up here, chart your progress, and if you really want to be successful and grow your business, begin instituting those incremental changes that will bring big results. Thanks, Ken.
Yeah, thank you, Jeff. And one of the things, here's, if you want more information, there's a couple of websites here. JamesClear.com and TinyHabits.com are both websites that are terrific for helping develop good habits. And one of the things that Jeff mentioned there about figuring out what you have to do to make if you want to make the 300,000, a lot of times people will say, oh, well, gee, you know, they have these formulas. Well, I've got to do so many calls and I've got to do so many appointments, and to get those appointments, I got to make so many phone calls and all that stuff. You can't go from not making any phone calls to making 500 a day. The whole concept of Kaizen and of developing good habits is give yourself a manageable step to do. Maybe I'm going to just make one call to one new person every day just to start out. I'm just going to make one. I know I can make one. And once that gets ingrained, then, hey, maybe today I'll make 2. And once that gets ingrained, then maybe we'll up it to 3. And pretty soon, you're a firehouse. You're really going. So it's really important. Second line for more information, of course, FAQs at AllisonJames.info. If it's not there, fill in your question. If you can't find that, then give us a call. We'd be happy to talk to you. Does anybody have any questions about the seminar today? Got anything, Victoria?
Let me see here. What forms do we have for land and other transactions that are not in WIN forms?
What forms do we have for land and other transactions? I don't know that we have any forms that are not in WIN forms for land. We do have for other transactions, we do have a form that's called a home warranty waiver that's the location of which is available on faqs.allisonjames.info. It's actually on the Wolf Connect website. It's stored there, and there's a link to it on the FAQ site. Maybe some other forms that I'm just not remembering. How about, do you know of any?
Agent-owned properties. Those we have 2 forms for agent-owned properties, and those are also on our FAQ site. You can download them there.
Yeah, those forms are required by the insurance company. Most companies don't even cover agents selling, listing their own property. Allison James is kind enough to get us coverage for that on our E&O insurance. But the E&O carrier requires a couple extra forms that have to be filled out, and those are on the FAQ site. Does that cover the question?
I believe so. Another question we have here, how do we handle the WPA issue? Just looking for clarification. Well,
as we said when we were going over the RPA forms in a couple of roundtables back, the new RPA is different. It has information about pest inspection on the actual RPA. It talks about pest a little bit. What most people do as a matter of course is where it used to be that you would put that you're asking for a home inspection or you're asking for whatever inspection on the RPA. We now also ask for a termite inspection on the RPA, and you check the box that says seller pays for it or the buyer pays for it if they want to pay for it. And that requires, if they accept the offer, it requires the seller to do a termite inspection, a pest inspection. The WPA form, of course, has been what they call sunsetted. It is no longer. It's been rescinded. And one of the other changes that's been made is on the request for repairs form, the buyer's request for repairs. There's a spot on the buyer's request for repairs that they can just check that they want Section 1 or Section 2 termite repairs fixed. So that's how we handle it, and it becomes a negotiating point between the buyer and seller in the request for repairs. Anything you want to add to that, Jeff? I guess maybe Jeff's
I think that's thoroughly covered. Sounds good.
Okay.
I'm here.
Great.
Yeah,
anything
I think
else?
you covered that quite well.
Anything else, Vic?
Next question.
Okay, thanks.
Is there anything in position with the company and agent where a beneficiary is assigned to pending commissions in the event of an unexpected tragedy to the agent?
Ooh. Well, any payments due the agent would be payable to the agent if they're still alive, or to the agent's estate, however they've arranged their affairs. There's nothing in particular that would indicate who their beneficiary is, so far as I know. I guess that's something we'd have to check with legal on. I mean, it's kind of like if you're like when I was an employee for a big corporation, I guess if I had died when halfway through a pay period and I hadn't gotten paid yet, I don't think we assigned any beneficiary for payment of our salaries. So I think generally it would be just handled by however the agent has arranged their estate, has arranged their will, and we would normally we'd pay it to continue to pay it to the agent, to their agent's account. And generally, when somebody passes away, if they die, then either their will or the court takes care of it, handles that. Anything else?
We do have another one here. Is there a way that we can incorporate wind forms with SkySlope to autofill the areas required for signatures? I don't think we can autofill.
We are trying to see if that's
right now.
Well, we're trying to see if that's feasible. There's an interface. I don't know. You may not be aware of this, Victoria, but there's a lot of people that are. There are two different. Well, maybe it's different in different states, but in California there are two electronic signature programs that interface directly with WinForms. WinForms will automatically put in the tags for the initials and signatures on the form if you're using DocuSign or if you're using digital ink, the one that's built in for the California Association of Realtors.
Oh, okay.
We're checking. Jessica was going to be checking with SkySlope to see if there was some way that we could also have SkySlope be DigiSign be an option there in WinForms. And I don't know the result of that yet, but we have we have had several requests about that, and we are trying to see if we can make that happen. I personally use DocuSign just because of that. It makes it a lot easier and saves a lot of time.
There is
Anything else?
There's a revision of DigiSign coming out. So if this is an important feature for all of you listening, anytime you want something done in SkySlope, put in a request. There's a section in the support area of SkySlope, and you can suggest things. Like, I think they do make changes based on interest level.
Mm-hmm.
So go ahead and post that in the SkySlope support section.
Yeah, it's a great idea, Jeff.
Yeah, the
Sort of like sending an email. Yeah, sort of like sending an email to your congressman. They try to oil the squeaky wheel.
Mm-hmm.
Anything else, Victoria?
I think that's it for right now. If anyone has any questions after the webinar is over, please feel free to reach out to any of us. But I think that is it.
Okay, terrific. Well, we have more information sources here. Of course, we have every month. You can go to car.org for recent news about new laws, any changes to forms. My home association's attorney, John Giardinelli, has a free newsletter and reports that they have some really great information on there about forms and legal issues for real estate people. And our next broker roundtable will be March 25th at 10 a.m. Please read the broker update in your emails, and we have events just about every Wednesday, online or in person, so we try to make sure we have a way to get the information to you that you need, and tell other agents you may know that how great this is. You can you can work for a great company, and you can eliminate all your fees. So thanks everybody, and we'll look forward to seeing you next month. And if we need to talk sooner, give me a call. Bye-bye.
Thank you, everyone.